Tuesday's gone, and today is the day we started the podcast. Oh, I have my glasses on. My bad. Welcome to Southern Golf Institute. Let me turn this down.
No.
Today we're going to go over some things just regarding who we are, what we do, and what we can do to help your game. What this YouTube channel podcast is really going to help. Hopefully I'll be entertaining, give you some insight of what'll be good. Just get my iPad up so I can not lose my train of thought. I'm pretty good at that. So we'll see how the kind of minor background music goes. That's probably better volume. But so today, like I said, we're just going to go over a few small things of why I got into this industry, who I am, and what I do. So welcome. My name is Kyle Mayfield. I am a chiropractor by trade. I've grown up in the business. My dad was a chiropractor. It has really influenced my life a lot. I didn't start off that way. I always wanted to be a doctor from a young child. I remember in first grade, we had the career day and who you wanted to be. So I always wanted to be a doctor naturally. Whether you think chiropractor's a doctor or not, whatever, I really don't care. It's really the education that I bring to people that I'm proud of. I always do my best for research purposes. I'm always reading, always keeping up with all the stuff, that we need to know, about the spine, which this is my guest. I forgot to introduce you. That's my bad. We'll be having guests more often, but today with the solo podcast, this is Sir Bobby Bones. I just made that up. But yeah, so what were we talking about? From a young child, I wanted to be a chiropractor. But once I got into high school, I kind of veered away from that. I liked finances a lot. I love the stock market. So in college, I studied finance, graduated in finance, worked in finance for about 6 months. Turns out I really didn't like that. I'm way too, not anxious of a person, but I don't like to sit still for long. It's not that fun. Kudos to those of you that are able to do that though. You can sit there all day and work on an Excel spreadsheet. Hell, that is tough. It can be fun, but man, you give me 3 hours of that in the morning, 3 hours of that in the afternoon, 2 hours of meetings, not me. I got to be up on my feet, and that's why I'm a chiropractor. I like to interact with people a lot, really get to know them, all that stuff. So that's what kind of, some personal development happens, along the way, wherever you are. Sometimes it takes us a little bit longer to figure that out. So I was one of the older ones in my chiropractic class, which really isn't saying much because the average age starting off is probably 22. A lot of these kids, I am a kid. A lot of the guys, in my class, they all went to chiropractic school right after, college, undergrad. Me, I took about a year and a half off, 2 years. So I was about 25 when I started, 28 when I graduated, 24, 27, something like that. But so what really got me into the sports chiropractic though was, when I was in school, COVID happened, started in 2019. COVID came 2020, obviously March that year. March 16th is the day I remember. I was driving along Daytona Beach. It was bike week. And all of a sudden, I see all these bikers. They're all, they had all their gear packed up. And I was just like, what the hell's going on? Bike week's a huge thing. I'm driving past the Daytona 500. Raise hell, praise Dale, baby. And all these people are, they're going westbound, going back to I-95, and I'm just like, what the heck is happening? And we'd kind of heard about the virus, and I think I was honestly maybe going to play golf that day. I don't have any other reason to be driving around Daytona, yeah, everything shut down. It was quite terrible for most of the nation. I really wasn't that scared of the virus. I think I'd caught it in January. But that year, ended up being one of the best years of my life. A lot of people, they let things control them that, they have no control of. They have an outer force that they are essentially a slave to, whether it be government, drugs, golf, you name it. But yeah, so a lot of bad things happened that year. We won't get too in depth to that, but that year's the best year of my life. I've fished more than I've ever fished. I've golfed more than I ever golfed. I killed 2 of the biggest deer in a hunting season, hunting the least amount I've ever hunted, because I'm from Louisiana. I lived in Florida for chiropractic school. Just an amazing year. Caught more big bass, killed more big bucks, killed 3 deer in maybe 8 hunts total. This year, we won't get into that, but that's every season. Every season has a purpose. Sometimes you gotta grind, sometimes you're just on top of the world. So, but during that year, it actually, towards the latter end of that year, even though it was a great year, I got my handicap down lower. I think I brought my handicap down that year from a 12 or 13 down to a 7, maybe 6.6, somewhere around there. Shot 78 for the first time that year, and then I shot 179. My goal that year was to break 80, and I did that at Spruce Creek Country Club. If you're ever down in the Daytona area, Port Orange, Orlando, it's a great place. You should go try it. But I played something, living in Florida, the weather's perfect. I played, 150 rounds, maybe. Got a little junior membership, that always helped. But, and I did all this while in chiropractic school. Thanks to COVID, I could do everything online. So rolling into that, playing more golf, all that. I worked out a little bit, not as much as I should have. And so that's where we're getting at to why I started the Southern Golf Institute. Was I tweaked a muscle in January of 2021. I was playing down in Fort Lauderdale with a buddy. Really didn't bother me at first, but kind of a weird thing that happened. It was just one swing during a round. I think that day, it's January, it was kind of cold. Even in Fort Lauderdale, it was like 58 that day, which wasn't that bad, still great. Shot like a 91 that day. But really hadn't been playing as much, it's Christmas break, all that. Well, coming in the golf season, it's really, February, March is some of the best time to play down there in Florida. The PGA Tour comes along. So we get to January, I didn't really play as much golf. But then coming down to the wire of March, my buddy from Fort Lauderdale, he was coming back up, and we we're going to go watch the Arnold Palmer tournament. We're going to go play at the LPGA International in Daytona. Great golf course, one of my favorites down there as well. We go to the golf tournament all day on Saturday, and so we're going to play our round Sunday. We're trash talking, doing all that jazz, and we get to the driving range, and really hadn't been warming up. Not gonna lie, we were out, partying, doing all that stuff over there in Orlando. After the tournament, we'd walked, however, six miles that day. Well, I'd already kind of been struggling with these back issues, but I could still play golf. Just having bad muscle spasms, doing certain things. But this is where, the final straw for me, I'm in chiropractic school too, I thought it was, from all this sitting and maybe, I'm sitting 60, 70 hours a week, on top of, studying in class, all that. So we get there to the golf course, I'm on the driving range, and I swing and muscle spasms, and I just slapped the ground. I'm like, all right, that was weird. So not really, warmed up, still good. Get to the course, whatever. Hole number one, played it fine. Might have parred, bogeyed, whatever. Get to hole number two, same thing happens. Severe muscle spasm, quick sharp pain. I completely missed the ball, and I'm almost embarrassed. And I looked at them, I was like, man, my back's just not feeling right. So I try a little half swing, maybe hit it 170 yards. Get my 4-iron out because I think it's a long par. I think it's pretty far par 5, hole number 2 on the Hills course. Same thing happens. I hit a super fat shot, goes maybe 20 yards. I'm like, all right, let's just let's call it this hole. This is insane. So I kind of play with the two buddies for a little bit, and then we get to hole 3. It's par 3. 144 yard shot, hit a pitch and wedge, swinging so easy. I probably got 9-iron. Usually we hit a pitch and wedge 145, but I think I got 9-iron and kind of just swung a little easier. I had lost all confidence. We get to hole 4, short par 4. Usually hit a 4-iron, same thing happens. So I told him, I was like, man, I'm just gonna have to quit. I'm just gonna, caddy off for the rest of the round. So, of course, those two are driving in the car together because they're both from Fort Lauderdale, and so I'm in the car the rest of the round by myself. And, it brought me to tears because I realized, I was like, I either have a disc issue, knowing everything I know about the spine and all that, or I tore a muscle. It sucked, like I said, it brought me to tears because I had a feeling that, I wasn't able to play golf for a long time. And this is my last year in Florida before I moved back to Louisiana and, graduate and all that. So from that day on, I told myself I was going to do everything I could to, get my body better. And so, I seeked help, found a chiropractor in town, that really specialized in that stuff. But what really got me into it, though, was that year at homecoming, Dr. Greg Rose, who started the Titleist Performance Institute, he was coming in for the homecoming, right? I just said that. And so I go and listen to him, and he just talks about Titleist Performance Institute, and I start researching. That was a life-changing event for me. And I'm already in chiropractic school, so that was a really great experience just to see Dr. Greg Rose talk at the school, and him being an alumni, thinking, well, he's got all the tools I already had, I'm gonna follow his lead. He's a great leader, very smart, intelligent man, and the thing about him is he has surrounded himself with such a good crew of other doctors, other golfers, professional coaches that all really help, develop the program for Titleist Performance Institute. So I took the level course 1 and all that stuff. I really started, approaching the game of golf differently after this injury. I started training like I've never trained before. And I've been an athlete my whole life. I've played tennis, I've played soccer, I've always played golf. Played basketball, played football, played all that, baseball. Tennis and soccer and golf have always been my favorite 3 sports. Tennis and golf, especially just because the individual aspect of the game it's all on me, nobody else's fault. But so after figuring all that out, I really, dug in deep of this is what I want to do. Just having that firsthand experience of having a back injury really pushed me to the limits, mentally, physically. And it challenged me to be able to come look at the game in a different way, the physical aspect. And Titleist Performance Institute, you know, their whole thing is everybody has an individual unique swing. Everybody has a little bit different biomechanics. There is no perfect swing. And if you have a golf coach that tells you that this is a perfect swing, you know, I would maybe look somewhere else. You know, they might be a great coach, but everybody's different. You know, I'm 6'2", 170 pounds. I do not swing the same as, you know, let's see, Jordan Spieth's kind of tall, but Justin Thomas or Brian Harmon, you know, guys that are a little bit shorter, I cannot fit my swing into their swing, or they cannot fit theirs into mine. I'm not comparing myself to that, but let me mute this call. 1 second. But I can't fit myself into that. It's just too much to ask. So what I do now is, you know, I help people find their physical limits, see what parts of their body are not working correctly, see why that's happening, and we do all this to the Titleist Performance Institute and selective functional movement screenings, so that we can see what individual characteristics you have. I'll get more into depth into that at a later time, but so that is a lot of why I do what I do, because I want to help people stay out of pain and play more golf. Because if you're like me, golf is, you know, it's not my life. I will never, you know, characterize one thing as my life, but it's one of the things I do that I enjoy and I'm good at. It's very social, meets lots of people. So it's a great thing, and I just want to help people figure that part about their game and all that. So getting further into it, that's what I do and why I started. And so how it'll help your game, you know, you'll be able to, you know, swing more freely without, you know, bodily pain. You'll be able to recover faster. And most of the time, you know, you're going to end up playing better golf. But another aspect that, you know, that I have found of golf is the mental challenge. You know, that's one of the things I love about it the most. You know, you study players such as Tiger, Fred Couples. We could probably put Bryson DeChambeau in there. You know, they're all kind of mentally different. Tiger's, you know, the fiercest competitor out there. Fred Couples is the easiest going, coolest player out there. I mean, if you don't think Fred Couples is cool, then I don't know. I don't know who you think's cool. Maybe, Taylor Swift. Anyways, then you got Bryson DeChambeau. He comes at a scientific, nerdy type of way. No offense, Bryson. But everybody's got their different, you know, way. You got Jordan Spieth, who's always talking to the ball. He's one of the, you know, one of those golfers that just he almost analyzes the game, I think, too much. I think that's a lot of his fault. You know, you see him; he's always talking to Michael Graylor, whatever his name is, Mike, his caddy. He's just always talking to him, which a lot of players do that. And then you got Phil Mickelson. He's very, you know, analytical, pretty laid back. Even though in his later years, he's kind of become a different player. But those are some of the, you know, different ways to mentally, you know, look at the game. I try to line myself with Fred Couples. I just think he just, you know, he's easygoing, very breezy. You know, he, you know, cool as a cucumber, whatever you want to call it. But then you got other people like Scotty Scheffler, #1 player in the world. He's very easygoing. Dude's always smiling, always laughing. You know, he might get a little frustrated, which, you know, you got to have a little frustration somewhere down into it. But It's the game's wonderful. It's a beautiful game. So these are some of the things we will, go over in the Southern Golf Institute videos and podcast. So my vision, though, what I aim for, which is my chiropractic business, AIM Chiropractic, and Southern Golf Institute, where I'm gonna, have a little bit more into the golf. I want to help people, not just whether it's professionals in the Louisiana, in the South, wherever. I want to help them, improve their game on all aspects that they can. It is just there's so much of the game that is tough to cover. One of my favorite ways, though, to approach it is mentally. There's a great book called "Golf Is Not a Game of Perfect" by Dr. Rotella, Bob Rotella. He really great book. If you've never read it or never seen it, I would highly encourage you to go grab that book. Start reading it today. It'll change your aspect of how you should think about the game. Golf is a game of mistakes. You're gonna make your mistakes, but it's the striving to be better after every shot. You can't let one bad shot influence you. You can't let two bad shots influence you. You gotta, keep running, keep striving, because you're not gonna be a good golfer if you get, pissed off, act like a child, break clubs, throw clubs. Take the Fred Couples approach. He's a fierce competitor. He really is, but you would never think that. But in his mind, he's just laid back. He's there to play golf and win, but he's just gonna shrug his shoulders, stay relaxed. So those are some of the things we're gonna be talking about. This is just, introductory into just what I do, how I do it. Be on the lookout for more videos to come. Subscribe, email me. I'll put my email down at the bottom if you feel like this is something that you could, come work with me with. I'm in Shreveport, Louisiana, so if you're not in this area, that's fine. I'm gonna be having some packages come out to where we will, it'll kind of be, something that if you're really committed to your game, that you want to do. But you come stay down here, I'll work with you for a full week. We'll have 4 rounds of golf and, a week full of TPI assessments, mental assessments, evaluate, all your bodily biomechanics, and hopefully get your game better. So be on the lookout for some of those things that I'll put up on the website, southerngolfinstitute.com. But like I said, subscribe and keep up with me. Appreciate y'all. And that is all we got for today.